What is up, guys? This is Kobe here, and today I'm going to be covering some information about the lab server. Now, I have experienced my time at the lab server having to hit 200 twice because of a mistake I made from the first time I hit 200. So because of that, I'm gonna have to give you guys, some tips on, how to get through the lab server and a brief training guide for the first 200 levels. Keep in mind, this is going to be a very hardcore training guide, meaning that you will be abusing Star Force maps from level 80 to 180. So you're gonna need to rack up on Star Force. You're gonna need about 140 minimum, and also make sure you spell chase some things with HP as well. I'll show you guys that in a second, but just a heads up. But now let's go ahead and get started. So after you achieve your first job from this NPC right here, I don't suggest staying in Genesis, rather going to Alinea instead. Alinea offers lower level monsters, so you have a lower chance of dying. I highly recommend starting up here fighting the slimes. Slimes are only level 7 versus the orange mushrooms being level 10, so this is definitely a much better starting place to go instead of, just the usual mushrooms. Now, they're not going to drop too much for me because I'm already at such a high level. But when you are at monsters in your level range, they will drop 2 different types of black potions. And when they do drop these black potions, it is a Mr. Saint Strengthening Boost Potion and a Dr. Bebe Strengthening Boost Potion. You use them immediately. Upon using these potions, you get 2 skills to the beginner tab that will level up. So we have Dr. Bebe Strengthening Potion, which pretty much every level gives you 3% attack and 1% defense ignore. That's this black potion here. And this one here gives 40 attack and 1% defense ignore per level. So you can use these 100 times before you die. If you die, they do reset immediately, so please be careful on that. So at level 100, you can get 4,000 attack and 300% attack, as well as 100% defense ignore. So for your first 25 levels, I just highly recommend staying in Alinea. You can just upgrade to higher mobs as you progress. Eventually, you will keep consuming those potions, and you will be strong enough to fight Evil Eyes here in this map. Personally, I went over to the Curse Eye map, which is going to be this map up here, and I stood here until maybe about 25-ish or so. So you do want to hit 25. Remember, consume all the potions that you can as much as possible, and there's pretty much that to it. Killing monsters will also drop lab coins, so you want to make sure you loot all these lab coins here. Manually looting until about level 30, because at level 30 you can click on Tots, and you'll have a Tots Know-How quest that teaches you about pets and gives you a 7-day puff ram afterwards. So this puff ram will be able to do most of the looting for you. So now you may be wondering, what exactly do you do with these coins? With these coins, you are to, well, first you are to buy these selective 8-slot coupons. You want to fill up your equip slot and your use slots. Those 2 are most important. Etc. and setup don't really matter that much. Etc. maybe matters a tiny little bit, but setup is generally useless. But equip and use are absolutely required. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, mobs will also drop these mysterious boxes here, which can also give you some armor boxes for advanced players. They can also give other things such as potions, mastery books, flames, and that sort of stuff. Meso bags too. These meso bags are pretty much your main source of income in the lab server. So that's why you need to open these boxes as much as possible, because each bag can contain a lot of money, up to maybe about 12 mil per bag. I don't think I've gotten any more than that, but this is pretty much where the money comes from. After you have finished filling up your equip and use slots, you want to buy a whole bunch of armor supply boxes. Now, I know a lot of people who talked about buying, weapon boxes for their Fafnir or Absolab weapon, but to be honest with you, I stuck with a level 40 weapon because this guide is really only going to go up to level 200 and nothing higher. You don't really want to have like having too much damage doesn't really matter. Like, there's really no point in hitting like hundreds of millions on monsters that only have about like 50-60 million health. You don't need to be just super duper strong. You just need to be strong enough. The potions already provide you enough damage to one-shot your way throughout the entire game anyway, so you should be just fine. Upon opening these armor boxes, you will get a whole bunch of high-level armors and accessories. Pretty much every single thing that I'm wearing right now, except for this weapon, has come from the armor boxes. This Lab Server Pioneer, you should definitely get this medal. This is coming from spell chasing an item 80 times. You can also Star Force this medal along with the Crusader Codex, so make sure you Star Force these as well. Did I say Star Force or Spell Chase? I'm pretty sure, well, it's Spell Chase if I did say Star Force. So Spell Chase an item 80 times and you get this medal here, which you can Star Force. Also, you don't need to fill up all the slots to Star Force because it is 255 slots. That would just take way too long. But whenever you are spell tracing, spell trace with HP, nothing else. HP is your best friend. When I talk about Star Force maps and, you know, the training guide after level 80 or so, I'm going to provide you a list of how much damage these mobs deal to non-paladin classes. The paladins, they'll probably deal about 20 to 30%. But anyway, you pretty much get all these items here, and whenever you need to spell trace an item 80 times, definitely spell trace all 80 with HP. Go for 70% because mathematically you'll get more stat doing 70% than 100%. So you do want to just keep that in mind. Also, gear has a HP limit of 10k or 9,999. So whenever you hit this much on a piece of equipment, you can just stop. I also know people like to go for like crazy specific sets, like, oh, trying to get the full Absol set, trying to get the full Fafnir set from the boxes. And to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter, because I just have a whole bunch of clusterfuck right here. The main goal for me, the absolute main goal for me, was to just get Star Force. And that's exactly what I got, 165. Now, this doesn't have Star Force, but make sure if you just get something for the newer slots, just Star Force it as much as possible. I even breezed through the first 100 levels without any armor, and just this weapon here. As long as you have those potions and you have, you able to heal as much as possible, then you should be good to go. Now, for you players that don't mind spending a little bit of money, which I heard you might get them back as Maple points after the event server ends, question mark. You can head on over to the cash shop, and if you just briefly search up Potion Pot, you are able to buy a Potion Pot with only 700 NX as this loads here. But anyway, this Potion Pot is 700 NX right here. You were able to right click the Potion Pot and fill it up with potions up to 1,000,000 health. There's probably some extenders in the cash up as well, but I didn't see one myself, so I didn't really bother with it. So just right click, and I mainly just been filling all of mine up with reindeer milks. The reason why you want to use a potion pot in the lab server, because it bypasses the potion cooldown, and I definitely say that's worth the 70 cents it's worth. I would definitely pay 70 cents for a potion pot to bypass the cooldown, or the potion cooldown, on a server where dying brings you back to level 10. But kind of stopping the sidetrack for a little bit, the main goal with these armor boxes that you are getting from this coin shop here, that you get coins from killing mobs with, is to just fill up these slots. Fill up the slots, Star Force them as much as possible. You can mainly just stop at 10 stars for most of the gear, 10 or 11 if you want to. And just try to muster up at least 140 Star Force. And you also want to spell trace things with health. I'll leave a brief health recommendation of, how much you need to have when you enter certain maps. After level 80, of course, because that's when Star Force maps start. So without further ado, let me actually get to the main training guide. So we already talked about Alinea from 10 to 25, so that's good. 25 to 40, you want to end up going to Gold Beach. Pretty much any Gold Beach map will do. It's not really that bad. Their touch damage is rather low, although you still want to be a little safe. Like I said, I'm not really gonna mention the touch damages until the Star Force maps. Pretty much just anything you have should be able to cut it. Armor that you loot off the ground, because you don't really have to loot though or deal with those advanced boxes till like level 100 or so, because level 100 is probably the lowest level item they give from that box. So any gold beach map throughout here will do, because they're all actually not that bad. All from 25 to 40. This is a popular one. I know this last one is a slightly popular one only because it is the last map and it's not really all that bad. So there's that for gold beach. At level 40 all the way to level 60, we have a wide variety of Drake maps. Drakes are very, very popular. Most of the maps were more so before, so that's one thing you gotta look forward to. You probably have about 4 to 5 different variations of Drakes you can go to, just till 60. It's all gonna be really fun at the end. So good stuff. Just, you know, make sure of that. Also at level 50, there's another TOTS quest that is a must do. It gives you a 3-day hyper teleport rock. It'll talk to you about teleport rocks, so on and so forth, and after finishing it, you get this 3-day teleport rock that I have right here. So make sure you do this at level 50. From 60 to 80, after you get your 3rd job advancement, also friendly tip, after you leave the 3rd job boss map, and you are in the map with the giant little crystal that you talk to enter the 3rd job boss map, please open your Maple guide and click on job advancement quest to be teleported back to the Elnath place. Going into that portal will cause a whole bunch of Yetis to be appeared because of hackers who like to do that. And there'll probably be some nice people who like to clear them, but there's a good chance that if you go into that portal, or if you go back into that portal after you clear your 3rd job boss, those Yetis will one-shot you and you will go back to level 10. So you want to be, you know, on the safe side, and to ensure that once you're at the map with the crystal, don't go to the portal at the top left, open Maple guide, click on job advancement quest, and you will be able to go back to your 3rd job instructor in Elnath and job advance perfectly fine, perfectly safe. So 60 to 80, Magatia. Pretty much all of these maps are really accessible. Now this is more popular than Drake's in my honest opinion. It is absolutely insane. These maps are definitely going to be overcrowded for, you know, the part of lap server. Sahel 2 and Desert of Serenity are the popular ones. You can also go to maps such as Area C1 with Roids, Area C2 with Roids and Neo-Heroids. Maybe for, you know, a bigger change, these guys might be a tad bit of a higher level. You go to the unit maps. Unit 202 is honestly one of my favorites, at least back then. 203 also isn't really that bad. It's a little big, but you know, 201 to 203, these are all not as bad, especially when you really only have to stay to level 80 to begin with. Now, whatever gear that you've looted off from the mobs, you kind of want to Star Force that and Spell Chaser for HP now, because we are transitioning to Star Force maps. The reason why we're going to Star Force maps so early is because, you know, looting potions, you're already going to be essentially strong enough to one-shot, so you want to be really, really careful. Now, first Star Force map I went to, this is pretty much just exactly what I did. Sinus 3, Blood Harps 107. Now, these guys do touch damage of about 4,000 to 5,000 when you have the Star Force requirement. They do more if you don't, so make sure you have enough Star Force. So I do recommend at least 15 to 20,000 health before coming here. So just, you know, please be careful. You want to be here from about 80 to 90. It's not really all that bad. From 90 to 100, you can go over, or you can transition to the Black Kentaurus map. I use this map in KMS a lot. If you have been watching my Road to Grandmaster videos back when I did them, this map is probably one of my favorites to actually even train at. But in lab, they do about 5 to 7,000 touch damage. So yeah, at least 20,000 to 25 if you want to be here. So just remember to keep that in mind. Maybe it was around 5 to 6k, but you know, it was around that touch damage range. So after level 100, you just go to this map here, and then come here and just do the job advancement quest. If you are an explorer or have been, you know, playing explorers, you already know how the job advancement works, so I don't really need to explain that too much briefly. So after you achieve your 4th job advancement, you want to go over to Dugos Pirates in Ludibrium. You want to be at this map till about 115. This is a really good map. It might be pretty crowded a little bit. There are some alternative spots that you can train at in Ludi until 115 as well, such as the Spirit Vikings in this map. There is the little portal that leads to the better version of these Vikings that is right here, so you want to be sure of that as well. And that's about it for Ludi Biome. So once you are at 115, let's say you don't have any face or eye accessory right now, and you have been opening those advanced player boxes from the lab server shop. That's essentially what you're going to be spending all your coins are after you fill up your inventory to its maximum amount. You can just go to Zakum. Now, you shouldn't die at Zakum, because you should be able to one-shot the arms. You just can stay on one side, one-shot the arms, go to the other side, one-shot the arms, and then just one-shot Zakum. It's not really that hard of a fight. But going to Zakum here should grant you probably like 5 levels. 115 to 120. That's only if you're on like a 4x or something though. If not, probably not that much. But Zakum has a very good chance to drop both the eye and the face, so you want to be sure of that. And after that, from 115 to 135, Cave of Trials 2 is my go-to map. Now this map has been getting recent popularity in the lab server, so essentially any of the 3 Cave of Trial maps will help out up until 135. They're really good, to be honest with you. And remember, I did see that guy fighting mobs without, Star Force. Remember, you're not getting Star Force for damage in the lab server, you're getting Star Force for defense. You need Star Force for defense so you don't, take too much damage and die. The touch damage here when you have the maximum or the required Star Force is about 8,000 to 9,000, 7 to 9,000. It's a wide variety of just 7 to 10,000 at that. So you want to make sure you have probably at least 25 to 30,000 health. Make sure you're safe and you just don't die out. Now, from 135 to 150, we enter Kerning Tower. Kerning Tower is where it begins, where the 10k plus touch damage mobs will make their debut, or debut, or whatever the fuck you say. Anyway, these guys are very tough. As you can see, I'm taking 10k damage right now. Essentially, all these maps are going to are full. It's like, as lab server people are already figuring this out. You can go to any of the other Star Force maps as well in Kerning Tower from 135 all the way to 160. So just be sure. And also, if this is your first time getting to level 50, or getting level 150, I mean, get to 150 and stop. Why? I'm going to explain that right now. So if this is your first time reaching level 150 in the lab server, I will say congratulations, you finished your first step. So I'm not going to continue the leveling guide just yet. We're going to take a little break from that. At 150, you will have a quest at the bottom saying, level 150 reward, and it should give you a chair. This revive and strengthening chair, this is what you get after reaching 150. The moment you get this chair, die. Die. You need to die after you get this chair and you turn in the quest at level 150. Dying will bring you back to level 10, in which it will give you 2 additional quests. So the 2 additional quests is following. First one, level 200 survivalist. Get to level 200 without dying, period. I say it like that because that's the reason why I had to get to 200 twice on this server, because I made a mistake. And I'll tell you about the mistake I made. It's because of the second quest here. Defeat Von Leon with the strange PT bottle at level 10. You need to enhance this strange PT bottle with spell traces at least 50 times. 50 successful times at that. Once you do that, you have to talk to this entry portal. You have to be level 10 to enter this portal. If you are not level 10 and you do not have that quest, you cannot enter this portal. Killing Von Leon will get you this disgusting looking hat here. I'm pretty sure you'll also get it on the main servers, so you just want to be sure of that. that you can also get on the lab servers as well. And interesting enough, you can actually spell trace in X items in the lab server. So the hat also has 255 slots you can just throw spell traces at. So that's just one thing for sure. So if you are going for that Von Leon kill, one tip in advance is to save these potions as much as possible before you die after receiving your chair at 150. So after you do that, you can use those potions. You could job advance, or you go back, or you could job advance whatever job you want to do. I highly suggest a thief, because thief has double stab, and the strange PT bottle is a dagger. People are saying mage. I'm not really sure how well mages perform, but if mage is the way to go, then I guess that works too. But I do recommend a thief. The mage is also, I guess, good far range and teleporting. So if you don't want to get it from Von Leon, then that's definitely a good way to go. But that's about it. Make sure you do have a potion pot as well, or just stay in the back healing a lot, because Von Leon is a bit of a challenge. He can get easier though, the more of the potions you save and the more you actually, spell trace gear. One thing you can do for fighting Von Leon is getting just full-fledged level 10 equipment. I think this general store here sells level or low level equipment for all levels. So this is definitely one worth checking out, although this is only 13. You might be able to flame for low level flame reduction or low level reduction on these items, but for the most part, if you don't see this, just go to like the Lith Harbor general store or the general store for your class. If you're a warrior, go to Perion. If you're a mage, go to Alinea. Thief, go to Kerning City, etc, etc. Get a level 10 set and spell chase it with HP, and make sure you use those potions right after you die. So you can pretty much have optimal damage and survivability for Von Leon to be able to clear and get that ugly looking hat. So if you have unfortunately died at Von Leon and you had the level 200 survivalist quest active, forfeit that quest and re-accept it. Otherwise it's not going to complete once you reach level 200, because you technically have died and the quest asks you to not die. So my word of advice would just be to not accept that quest if you are aiming for that Von Leon kill until you clear Von Leon. After you clear Von Leon, die and reset back to level 10 so you can accept that quest and you can just go ham to level 200. Just remember, you cannot die during that quest at all. Even at Von Leon, it still counts as a death, even if you are level 10 and you die at Von Leon, so please be careful. So Kerning Tower basically covered the 135 to 160 bits. All 4 of these training maps are really good up until 160. These guys do about here. I don't think I really briefly explained their touch damage, but they do roughly about 10 to 12k, 10 to 13. And the other map that people would usually go to are the mirrors here, and the mirrors do double of that. So instead of 10 to 13, let's talk more about 20 to 26, 20 to 25. So this is where it starts getting real deadly. And if you think that's deadly, wait till we go to this next part, or this next map. Ludus Lake, Omega Sector. Now HO1, HO2, and HO3 are all really good maps. These guys do 35 to 40k touch damage if you are, in the range and you have enough Star Force. If you don't have enough Star Force, they do more. So in-game lab, I highly recommend you have 100,000 health, and that's easily going to go to play at level 160. So if you are level 160 and if you do not have at least 100,000 health, might even be a little bit more, please get at least 100k health, because this part right here is just evil. I honestly hated these levels more than anything, 160 to 180 in the lab server, just because of how strong these guys were. So you want to be extremely careful on that. I'm basically essentially healing every single time I get hit, so you want to be super careful. So you stay here until about 180, remember, 35-40k touch damage, and after that you'll go to some slightly weaker mobs at Twilight Perion. And Twilight Perion maps are a little weird because they slightly depend on what class you are. Now my map recommendations for Twilight Perion, also by the way, these guys do about 25 to 35,000 touch damage, a little less on Omega Sector, but at least it's on Omega Sector touch damage. This doesn't require Star Force, so you don't have to worry too much. My go-to map was Gale Plateau. I loved training here. from the amount of time I was here for. It was really nice. Some other maps that people like, I'm not really sure why a lot of people would like this one, but it's Forsaken Excavation Site 2. I know this was a lot popular in other servers because of Kishin Shokan being a thing, but this is the lab server where Kishin Shokan does not exist. So I don't really recommend this map unless you are just a class that can clear really well in these small and condensed maps, such as in Ilium, for example. But Ilium is not playable in lab. Anyway, moving on, we have Forsaken Excavation Site 3. This is also another go-to map other than Gale Plateau. If you want a map similar to Gale Plateau, FES 3 is definitely really nice. Now, if you're really good at dropping through platforms and clearing mobs, FES 4 is good. FES 4 is really nice. You could stay here till 200 easy. So that's essentially it. Those are the 4 main maps you'd be at Twilight Perion up until level 200. So be sure of that. Boss recommendations or boss level recommendations, I do suggest Chaos Horntail from level 175 to 180 in that level range to kind of get out of Omega Sector a little faster. I do recommend you have at least 100,000 health before going to Chaos Horntail though. Very similar, because I already said you need that much for 160, but that tail, or at least when I fought him for the first time, did about 80k touch damage. 80k. You do not want to touch that tail. A good tip from when you spawn the entire body in Chaos Horntail will be to stand on his or on the left side of the map and clear out the body parts from the left to the right. When you are fighting the tail, go down to the bottom and stay as far away as you possibly can from the tail to be able to deal damage to the tail, because that tail is a deadly piece of shit. Anyway, after 200, if you have successfully gotten here without dying, you will have the completed quest here, and you will be able to get your Enhanced Legion piece after the server is over. You can't get any of the lab rewards until after the server is over. And remember to choose your server, select a server for your reward, and just choose whatever server you have. For me, it's going to be E-Reboot. I haven't made any E-Reboot videos on YouTube yet, but I will get there, so I'll take a little second on that. Also, I do recommend every day at reset, there are 3x coupons in here. I probably should have said this tip at the beginning of the video, but I'll just plug it in now, so better late than never. But at reset, you are able to get free 3x coupons, 3 of them that last for 30 minutes. So every day you have an hour and a half of 3x coupons. These 3x coupons expire at reset, so use them before reset, before they expire. If they do expire at reset, well, at least you can still just get 3 new ones. Also, you can get a Storm Growth Potion every single day. Doing the dime, or whatever the hell this quest is called, the dime a dozen, doing this quest twice gives you a Storm Growth Potion. So doing this once a day, it works really well. So 1 Storm Growth a day. Also, one of the level up awards, I think it was like 85, 120, just somewhere, one of those level up award celebration gifts, give 2 Storm Growth Potions. You want to save all of these Storm Growth Potions until you're close to 200. For example, if you have 4 Storm Growth Potions, hit 196 and use all 4 to reach 200. If you have 5, use all 5 to reach 200, so on and so forth. It just works like that. But anyway, that is going to be about it. If you do have any questions about the lab server, please ask me in the comments below. I really didn't anticipate this to be a long one, but if it was, then it was. So that's pretty much that. I know there might have been a few things that I have missed over, kind of like flaming your gear for HP in the shop. I actually just remembered that one. Little bit of last tips. If you don't need to spend lab coins on the armor boxes anymore, 1 coin can give you 3 eternal rebirth flames, and with that you pretty much just flame your gear until you roll decent HP lines. For example, HP line, HP line, HP line. I didn't really roll HP line like the non-KMS gear, the non-boss gear, because it's kind of difficult. But HP line, HP line, HP line, HP line. Just roll for HE flames. There's people who did level reduction first, and then when they got to the level of the gear, they started to roll for HP. but I personally didn't really care. I was fighting in the server butt naked to level 100 anyway, so I'm perfectly fine. But that's gonna be about it. So if you guys learned a thing or two, please leave a like. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. I'll answer it for you. And that is about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.